Hey guys, welcome back to Starcastic Remarks. My name is Ryan Chambers, and alongside my brothers Chris and James, I'm just realizing my ring lights are really bright. We are the official Dallas Stars podcast of THPN. Thank you for following along with us tonight. The Dallas Stars lose by a final score of 3-2. You'll never believe. In overtime, for the 11th time past 60 minutes for this team, we are now currently number one in the league, along with Calgary and San Jose, in the most losses and being the best loser past 60 minutes. I before I even let you guys talk, okay, I'm gonna lose my crap tonight. Okay, at some point, I told y'all off camera, I'm gonna lose my crap tonight. There's gonna be something that we're gonna get into somewhere that I'm gonna lose my crap on, and I'm sorry. And before I even start yelling and screaming and stuff like that, it's because I care too much, and this team should be a Stanley Cup contender. And I don't know what the answer is either, and why we're losing all of these games in overtime. And I was willing to give them the benefit of the doubt through a majority of this homestand, but I'm over it at this point. I'm 100% over it. No excuses. This is ridiculous. This is getting old, and it's completely in the Stars' ability to win these games, and they're not doing it. Sorry, guys. Chris, James, thoughts?
Yeah, I was gonna say before things got too sad, but they already did. This was a great hockey game. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
if you look at it objectively, this is probably one of the best regular season games of the season because it was fantastic. You have two of the best goaltenders in the league, in my opinion, number one and number two for the Vezina playing tonight. You have both teams playing really well, aside from the first period. The first period, the Stars did not play good. But since that point, both teams were amazing in the entirety of the game. Both goalies were on top of their game. Both penalty kills were on fire, obviously. No power play goals. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about that. But the AAC was buzzing, too. Man, the Stars fans there, crazy good. Of course, there's a lot of Boston fans. That happens when you have a massive arena and cheap tickets. You get a lot of visiting fans whenever it's a good team coming in town. But, yeah, just really fun game. It was fun to watch. Sucks to lose it, but great game.
James?
Yeah, I mean, really, it's really comes down this whole game to just power play struggles, honestly, and that's what's been the whole homestand. Honestly, it's been power play struggles.
100%, and that's one of our supposed to be one of our strong suits. We're still, even after this terrible 8-game stretch of power plays, we had 3 goals in 8 games on the power play.
We are I think we're 3 for 25 now.
And we are still in a top 10 power play position in the league.
Yeah.
That's how good our power play has been all season long. And it just is beyond dry at this point.
I know y'all are trying to be positive and everything, and I don't want to bring it down. So y'all say something positive else about the game before I get into the negative stuff, because I'm just going to be the negative Nancy tonight. Sorry.
Sure. I mean,
y'all talk for a second.
In general, both the goaltenders were absolutely amazing. That was the best goaltender duel that we've had the entire season. It was awesome. Both had huge saves. Both when their teams were doing bad. Honestly, both goaltenders held them in very important times. They both had very key saves, and overall, it was very back and forth the whole game. It's exciting. It's an exciting game to watch.
Yeah, for sure. The other thing that's exciting for me is that we should have won this game, and not just could have. We should have won the game. And if you're should have beating the number one team in the NHL that's having a record-breaking season for the history of the NHL, you're in a good spot. I mean, we should have won this game. We had 5 different opportunities to win and squandered all of them. So the fact that we're that close, I mean, this hockey team's in the right spot. We hit the best team in the league at the height of our worst slump after just coming off of probably one of our worst losses of the season. So all that considered, and we still should have won the game. So I'm still happy about it.
You know, I'm gonna slightly disagree with you guys on the goaltender talk. I thought both goalies were really good, but I didn't think it was a question who the better goaltender was. In this game tonight, I didn't think there was any question that Jay Ottinger was the better goalie.
For sure.
When you specifically look at the goals that were scored, okay? Look at the first one against Ottinger, okay? Great play, great shot all the way around. The second one, and I literally wrote this in my notes, it had to be a perfect shot in order to beat Ottinger. It was 100. And I mean, shout out to Pavel Zacha. Holy crap. That was one of the best shots I think I've seen all season on any team, period. And then the third goal, I mean, it's a cross zone pass and you're not expecting it. And who's the person taking the shot? The guy who is second in goal scoring in the NHL.
Yeah.
There is no question in my mind tonight that Jay Ottinger was the much better goaltender over Ullmark. And I didn't think that Ullmark actually had a good game. He had some big saves when he came up with, but when you look at the goals that he gave up, they were both 5-hole goals that probably should not have gone in my own opinion.
No, those both should have gone in. They were great shots. They were put there on purpose because they had the scouting report and knew that they could score it on the 5-hole. So it disagree hard there. But the second period, Ullmark was fantastic. Yeah. I mean, some of his saves there were ridiculous. There is also a little bit more. The Bruins did not miss the net. All their shots were good. And that's why Ottinger was the better goalie tonight, that I agree with. But the Stars missed the net too much.
Yeah, and that's also something I was going to say. I mean, Ullmark is definitely the more protected goalie as well. I mean, the Bruins block shots like crazy. For how much like we like to say our team is like a great defensive team and they give up the body all the time, the Bruins do it more than us.
Yeah.
And that was obvious in tonight's game.
Yeah.
So where do we need to get to, or what do we need, or who do we need in order to be able to win games in overtime? Because at first I was, and this is the first main topic I'm going to bring up. We got to talk about it because it's overtime. I understand that 3-on-3 overtime and 4-on-4 overtime is not a thing in the playoffs when we get there. And thank goodness it's not, because this team sucks at overtime. But it worries me that they don't have that killer instinct that they haven't shown it. They have not shown that killer instinct. The Stars don't have it. And I'm sorry, and I'm not, again, I'm being negative Nancy here, but what I saw in the first period from the Boston Bruins was 100% killer instinct. And I think they got themselves in some penalty trouble in the second period. The Stars took advantage, and then they really started to push their own game in the second period. So, I mean, is that what the Stars need? They just need to rely on their power play because it hasn't been working for them recently.
What's the question? Is the question overtime or the power play?
You ask both.
Okay.
You have to ask one.
So my brain is all in a mush right now. Overtime, what do they need to do to fix it? Because it's gonna be ghosts when you get to the playoffs, and it's gonna be bad if they cannot figure it out before the playoffs.
To me, specifically for overtime, is that we always take the first chance that we're given in overtime, and then we lose puck possession and we don't normally get it back for the rest of the overtime. Normally we get like our one chance. Obviously that wasn't fully tonight's story because we had the power play, but I mean, we won the first faceoff and we skated down the ice and Miro took the first shot that he got open with. I mean, it's I guess it's not a bad thing, but if you're not getting like a perfect chance in these 3-on-3 overtimes, you're better off just turning around and skating back to your own end. Because that's really what you're looking for when the ice is this open.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we've done that before. I feel like we've double backed and played the whole period.
We've done that still hasn't done anything. We've done that once, and most of the time when it's puck possession and being able to get into the zone and jumble up the three defenders that are on the other side. I mean, most of the time, I hardly see us trap the three players on the other team in the other zone when you really should be able to do that very easily. I mean, you just keep control of the puck, you make them skate and just change because you have long changes in overtime.
Yeah, that might be true. At this point for me though, I'm kind of like, I don't care. I mean, we already have the 11 overtime losses. We're first in the conference still. We're going to make the playoffs pretty much no matter what. So I disagree that it's a big deal when it comes to power play time that we haven't scored a lot of overtime goals. I don't think it's really that big of a problem just because of how much of a different animal 5-on-5 is versus 3-on-3. I don't think our problem is that we don't have a killer instinct. It's that we don't have the scheme. 3-on-3 overtime is very much a controlled thing now in the league when it wasn't when it first started out. And 5-on-5 is just hockey. You're just playing hockey at that point. And that's totally different from 3-on-3. So I'm going to stay consistent with what I said at the beginning of the season. It doesn't matter when it comes playoff time. So yes, it's super frustrating. If you want to win the conference, something has to change. But they've changed everything. They've tried so many different things and nothing has worked. So I'm throwing it out the window at this point.
Yeah, and that honestly, that wasn't even a problem for this game, in my opinion.
Yeah, they just lost on the power play.
Yep.
So let me put this forward. We'll get to the power play in just a second because I do want to talk about it. We definitely need to talk about that. And I can't believe I'm just now thinking about this, but one of the things that we were really good about in October and November is the counterattack of this team. I can't believe I'm just now thinking about this, but is that something that the Stars need to figure out in overtime? They need to know when to be the predator and to pounce and be more aggressive when they see those opportunities arise. Because I have not seen a lot of counterattack. I've seen a lot of off the rush, which is great. That's exactly what we wanted when Pete DeBoer came in. But I'd really like to see a little bit more counterattack, especially in the overtime. And maybe that's the solution / problem that the Stars are having right now.
The problem is that doesn't happen anymore in the 3-on-3 overtime. I mean, like James said, teams aren't taking those chances, and when they do take them, they're going to score because it's a perfect opportunity. So you're not getting as many chances for a counterattack. Was there any chance for a counterattack against the Bruins here tonight? There was one, and and Marchand took a penalty on it because he had to break it up. So we didn't have an opportunity for it, and we played a full 4 minutes of overtime.
And
so I don't know.
Maybe I should be more consistent when I say this, but I'm not just talking about this game alone. Yes, I agree with you. There were not a lot of opportunities like that tonight.
Well, I think that's across games. I don't think there's ever a lot of opportunities because of how controlled it is.
So I would disagree with you a little bit because I have seen opportunities where, and I'm thinking of a specific, not a very specific play in a game, but a specific scenario where the Stars block the shot in the defensive zone. It goes out of the zone. There's an opportunity for them to go 2-on-1, and they just don't have enough. I don't know. They just don't pounce on the puck enough.
Here's what I'll say. It's because the other team has possessed the puck for 2 minutes already, and the three players that are on the ice are all dead tired.
Okay, that makes some sense. Okay, let's get into the power play tonight because we need to discuss this. You can't ask for better opportunities than what the refs gave the Stars tonight. And I thought some of the calls were bad and some of the penalties that they made. And I agree with Razor when he said that it was very well officiated. They backed off when they should have. And then if there was an obvious penalty, they called it. Again, overtime. They had a chance. 4-on-3. I mean, so much open ice. So much open ice. You have your 4 best players out there, and they're not able to take advantage. And then even worse, you have a 5-on-3 for almost a full minute, and you're not able to score.
And that's the second time that's happened this homestand. So it's not just a one-time thing. That's a consistent problem now.
And honestly, the power play lost us both this game and last game too. I mean, the penalties were 4-1 last game for the Stars, and we didn't score one.
Yep. 100% agree.
We've been complaining about the fact that the Stars don't get the benefit of getting more power plays. And then now we're getting them, and now we're not scoring.
Yep.
So
stop calling penalties, I guess.
Yeah, refs, stop calling penalties. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing. One of the 3 goals that we've had on the power play in this homestand, we only had 1 penalty in the game, and we scored on it.
Yep.
Don't know.
Confusion.
Very confusion.
I don't know. The big thing for me on the power play is that the second unit is completely gone. There's no second unit anymore. I mean, when we put the second unit out there, it's just they're just getting conditioning in. That's really all it is. They're just getting back and forth. So
and
that's
half
been
the
terrible.
time Robertson stays out for the second unit as well.
Which he should. I agree with you. I mean,
unless he's forced to change by a whistle.
and then I think the other thing is we're just not hard enough in front of the net on the power play anymore. I mean, those deflection chances and those dirty goals are not coming at all. I mean, it doesn't even look like we have opportunities for them. There's no scrambles around the front of the net. It's a shot and then it's cleared and then it's come back again and then a shot and then it's cleared, and that just happens over and over again. I mean, if stuff isn't working, if the cute stuff isn't working, all right, let's crash the net and get grimy.
And you took the words right out of my mouth, Chris. I'm going to go back to the whole deflections thing that I talked about like about a week ago or so. When we were seeing the Stars at their best on the power play, even if the tip wasn't going in, it was causing chaos in front of the net, and then that's when the Stars would get their best scoring chances. And like you said, gross, dirty, greasy, nasty goals. And when your power play is 3 for 25 or whatever they're on right now, how many power plays did they have tonight? 5?
They had 5.
I don't know, something like 3 for 25, 3 for 26, something like that. You have to go back to something that's simple. You have to go back to something that's simple that you know is going to work. And that was when they were super successful. And we're not seeing that. How often did we see a deflection tonight, either on the power play or 5-on-5 for that matter? Maybe once or twice. I think Delandria had one. And
Pavelski too.
Yeah, Pavelski had one. And they're just trying, like you said, Chris, too cutesy.
Yeah. But even those deflections, they're deflections and then they just let it go. Like there's nothing after the fact. So
okay. So what else do we need to talk about with the power play? Because there's another thing that I'm going to rant about here in a second.
Nothing. It just sucks.
Nothing. Okay. So here's my next thing, and this is where I'm really gonna lose it because I'm extremely frustrated with the lack of offense from the Dallas Stars. And I had been talking about this for almost a week now before they highlighted it before the game, right? They highlighted about that the offense has not been very good as of late. They've been getting chances, numerous chances. I mean, that's not the problem. They're getting the shots, they're getting the chances. Okay, so here's the thing. You go back to some of these overtime games here in February, they're not getting more than 2 goals a game. They're not. And when you try, and this is kind of part 2 of a same level of frustration, we're seeing them not play a full 60 minutes worth of hockey right now. They'll either be really slow in the first period, and this has been the trend lately. They'll be really slow in the first period, not play very well. They'll get their legs under them, play really good in the second period, maybe even have a lead going into the third period, and then they back off and they play freaking defense. This is what, and I'm not saying it's near as bad as it was with bonus, but they're not playing a full 60 minutes of hockey. They got no chances in the third period, like the first 14, 15 minutes until they realized that the clock was going down and that they were running out of time. And I know they were playing really good defense. I know they were playing fantastic defense in the third period, but you have to play in the offensive zone. You have to get in the offensive zone. They're not spending enough time there. That's the best deterrent to not letting the other team score goals. If it's 200 feet the other way, it's not going in your net. And the thing is, they could play the greatest defense ever, like they did in the third period. It was fantastic. I mean, Miro left and right, Hakanpää making good plays, Suter doing really well as well. But it took one perfect shot from Pavel Zacha to switch the momentum in the game, and then we lose the game because of that. And that's it's a two-parter. They're not getting enough offense, and they're not playing a full 60-minute game with the energy, with the playing more in the offensive zone, especially in the third period. I'll jump off my soapbox.
I'm going to disagree a little bit with the third period play tonight specifically. I thought the Stars played a good third period tonight. They had a lot of chances to win the game. I can think of 3 grade A chances that should have gone in. But your point still stands because the first period sucked. So they still didn't play a full 60 minutes, even if you give them the third. To further prove your point, on the 8-game homestands, the Stars scored 2 goals or less in 6 of the 8 games. 6 of the 8. And they won one of those 6. It was the shootout against
The Ducks.
who was it? The Ducks. Shootout
Yeah,
against the Ducks.
congratulations.
So that shows us 3-2, but the Stars only scored 2 goals. So
yeah,
truly an
at least,
offensive slump of the season for the Stars.
And at least 3 of those, the Stars had, I think, 4 or more power plays and didn't score on any of them.
Yeah. So definitely the roughest stretch of the season so far for the Stars. But the bright side of this coin is that somehow we took away a lot of points. James, what did you say that the point total was for the homestand?
We got 10 out of a possible 16 points on the homestand.
And technically lost 5 of the 8 games.
And lost 5 of the 8.
We only won 3 games, and technically we went 1 game over 500 in 8 games.
Yeah. So honestly, not a terrible homestand when you look at the teams that we faced, points wise, but just the way that you lost each of those games, and you're so close. Like you said, right? If we're good in overtime this season, we're just so close to having the best homestand ever, too. So it's just so frustrating how close it is. That's what it is to me. It's how close. The Stars are just right there.
The other frustrating thing to me is that if our power play is even a normal, decent on this stretch,
either of those things,
you get either one of them. You get either one of them, and this is a crazy good homestand, and we just didn't get either.
I think that's why we are so frustrated about this game, because the Stars are not playing bad. Overall, the homestand, our overall play, I don't think was horrendous. We're still a great team, and this is probably the worst we've played all season, and it's still really good. But the frustrating thing is we're right there. We're number 5 in the league. We're not number 1, and it's just also, so close. You can see the little things you got to change.
It's also at a time where really you should be turning and looking towards the playoffs.
Yeah.
And right now we're trending in the opposite direction at the worst possible time.
Well, see, this is just the calm before the storm, boys. Okay,
I believe you, Chris.
Calm before the storm.
I believe you, Chris.
We're pulling off the gas right now. That way we can go full throttle into February and into March and into the playoffs, and we'll be rolling.
All right, a couple of statistics I want to talk about that were mentioned during the game. In the last couple of games for Ottinger, he is 6-2-4. He has a 1.5 something GPA.
GPA. That's pretty bad. Almost
that would be really bad. No, goals against average, which I know is, kind of a stat of the past when you look at a goaltender and how good he is. But then you look at his save percentage, and he has the second best save percentage in the NHL right now, behind, of course, Linus Ullmark, who I think Ottinger is better than Ullmark. I think that's fair to say looking at this game tonight. And we're just not getting the offense tonight. Y'all talk positively about Ottinger and just how great he's been, and he's just not getting the offensive output that he was at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, Otter's crazy. He also saw a tweet from Saad Youssef before the game. Otter is now tied for the most games played of any goaltender in the league with an injury. He was out for 2 weeks. So he has played an astronomical amount of time, and still every time Wedgwood goes in, everyone in Stars Twitter is like, but why? Because we think he's just the best. He should play every game. And it feels like he should. And he's pretty much doing it. And he's still playing up to this insanely high level every single night. And if you want to look at the real reason why the Stars are so good this year, he's the reason. I mean, Razor talks about it a lot on his podcast about how, like, really the biggest game changer in hockey is the goaltender. And that's just so true. And it can just fluctuate from season to season. I mean, you can see the best goaltenders in the league have an off year. The team is suddenly a bubble team from being a contender. And that's just how important the position is. And for the Stars to have someone as good as Ottinger has been consistently throughout the year, it's been nuts. And he's not wavered at all during this homestand and this rough patch. He's been just as good, if not better. I mean, holding teams to 2 goals so many times in regulation and just losing it in overtime because he can't get any goal support. It's crazy. So he is absolutely the Vezina winner for me, 100%. With
that in mind, I would say expect to see Wedgwood a little, as we're we're having easier opponents for the rest of the month for the most part. And really, we do need Otter to rest a little bit before we get to the playoffs when we really are going to need him.
The other good thing is we still have a very favorable schedule for the rest of the season, too, because of how tough our first schedule was. So that's probably another reason why he has highest games played, because we had the most games played of any team during that stretch. So
another startling statistic. Well, I got two more specifically about this game and another about the record in general. The Stars with faceoffs tonight, absolutely ridiculous. And again, another frustrating reason. They didn't win 60% of the faceoffs, not 70% of the faceoffs, 80% or more of the faceoffs tonight, and they lose the game. That just tells you, first off, how much the Stars did not take advantage of their faceoff wins tonight, and two, how good Boston is even when they don't win the faceoff.
And three, how little that faceoff percentage really matters for the end of the game, because the Stars just dominated the dot all night, and really nothing came of it in any big way.
I mean, if you can't possess the puck, which is, I think, our problem in overtime, you're not gonna win a whole bunch of games.
Yeah,
I really do think that is probably this team's worst weakness, is possessing the puck. They are like bottom of the league in ozone possession time, and we can't win in overtime. And that's like the whole thing of overtime, is keep the puck.
You're starting to persuade me, James. I'm starting to believe you.
I believe it. That's why I'm saying it right now. Okay. It makes so much sense. Like 3-on-3 overtime. When you watch any other team play, they just make sure that the other team never gets a chance. Not that they don't get that. Not that they get a chance. They make sure the other team doesn't get one.
He's cooking right now. Oh, I guess Ryan's gone. I was expecting Ryan to say something there, but now he's just smiling creepily on the screen. That's very interesting. Okay. What else? What else? I thought we were about to wrap it up. So, James, whatever topics do you have until Ryan comes back, or DC?
We have to do biggest winner and biggest loser.
Biggest winner, biggest loser. Hey, Ryan's back. Ryan, who's your biggest winner for tonight?
I hate West Texas internet. My biggest loser tonight.
Oh, I said winner, but okay.
Oh, winner? I guess I can do that. Yeah, sorry, James. It's Ottinger. I mean, he is the best players that the Stars have had for a very long time. And this is on a team that has had Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin at their prime, Rope Hintz, who is scoring 30-plus goals every single season now, Robertson, who has come out of nowhere as a early second-round pick and has been a superstar in this league for the past 2.5 years. It's him. It is the Dallas Ottingers.
You got that dog in him. All right, James, who's your biggest winner?
I'm gonna choose Tyler Seguin. I know he has a -2 on the night, but overall, I thought his line played really well for him on the third line, honestly. And I felt like he really led his line like we were expecting him to do the rest of the season.
Yeah, that line looks so good offensively, and then it looks so bad in the other end. I don't understand. I really don't understand.
But if they can just convert now they're getting the chances. Everyone's getting the chance. If they can convert on that third line, it doesn't matter how bad they are defensively.
Literally all three of them are snake bit. Like if that is like a dam is waiting to burst, which I'm not convinced it is, that they are just going to score like 30 goals before the end of the season. My biggest winner is going to be Jason Robertson, because he's the best hockey player in the world. Well, that's not true. There's Connor McDavid. He's the second best hockey player in the world. He's amazing. I love him. He always scores. He shoots a lot. I like Jason Robertson.
I can't believe he didn't score a second one tonight.
I can't believe he didn't score that other one. That was an insane save. All right, Ryan, biggest loser.
Well, and Robertson also plays defense. Connor McDavid does not. No, he doesn't. Nowhere near compared to Robertson.
He plays on the penalty kill.
Yeah, he does everything. He does everything.
McDavid plays on the penalty kill so that he can try to score shorthanded.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's your biggest loser?
Sorry, I'm changing topics. My biggest loser, and I think he's starting to get that suitor tag a little bit, you guys, and I'm starting to see it more on Stars Twitter. Is Mason Marchment? He's getting chances. He's hacking off the other team. But I mean, when's the last time he scored a goal? Like almost 30 games now.
It's been a
And
really long time. He's completely snake bit, dude.
Yeah, and the thing is he's on our second line, and I know Sagan is good, but Sagan has proven this season that if he has people he can play with, he can score. And Mason Marchment is not doing him any favors, and actually neither is Radek Faksa for that matter. But it's not really Faksa's fault because that's not a role that he should be put in, right? If that makes any sense.
That
He should be
realistically
in the bottom six.
That realistically should be Gurion's spot, and he just
He's not doing it.
Really bad.
Dog water.
So I highly anticipate that the Stars are going to be getting out there and getting somebody, which we will talk about Wednesday night, because there's rumors about a certain really famous hockey player that may be on the way to Dallas. So we'll see.
I hope so. James biggest loser.
Yeah.
I'll just give it to the fourth line. They don't play that much. They look really bad now with having Gurry and Studenic on there. I mean, we're missing
Studenic had a really bad turnover today.
Missing Kiwi really hard. I mean, it shows you how much he really does. We know he's a great, hardworking player. And missing him for a few games now, goodness. I did not realize he was that important.
that line was unplayable tonight. They could not be put on the ice.
They played
they couldn't
less
match.
than 10 minutes.
Yeah, they could not match. So definitely agree with that. My biggest loser, I can't believe y'all didn't say this, Colin Miller. Oh my goodness. That is the worst hockey game I've seen Colin Miller play, and he got healthy scratched. So offensively, he's still doing good things. He's still learning offensively. I agree. Defensive zone, he was terrible. Turnover after turnover. I did not see one good defensive play in his own zone. The first goal is 100% on him. What are you doing? Why are you chasing the guy behind the net? That is the dumbest play I've seen him make individually. And then he couldn't get out of his own zone to save his life. I mean, the dude, he needs to skate. I mean, he gets the puck and he just panics.
Yeah, he's fast too. It's the frustrating thing.
Skate to the middle of the ice. I thought that was a terrible game for him. And obviously, coach agreed with me because he was not on the ice hardly at all.
Meanwhile,
what was his ice time tonight?
It's
16:36. Yeah, we didn't even mention.
Meanwhile,
31 minutes.
That's crazy.
My word, dude.
Oh man.
Yikers.
And he had to because we were one defenseman down because of Colin.
Well, Lundqvist played next to nothing tonight.
Play more too. Yeah.
So I don't.
A lot more actually.
I honestly think he should play more. I don't understand why he doesn't.
I really don't think that Miller played as bad as you're saying. Now, the play on the first goal, I 100% agree with you on that. Sagan was in the right spot. He was 100% taking care of it defensively. He had him. And then, let's just leave Taylor Hall in front. Guy who can score goals, former, Hart Trophy winner for the New Jersey Devils. No big deal. But, I think he does make good plays. I do. I don't think.
I think he does. He
had a bad game. He had a bad game
tonight. He sucked.
I feel like I've seen worse out of him. I've seen worse games. I'm not saying he played. I don't think he played. I don't think he played as bad as some other games that I've seen him play. And that's all I will say. I agree with you that he did not have a good game, but he did make up for it on that first goal when the Stars were getting nothing in the first period. His pass out of the zone, out of the defensive zone was the reason why that goal was scored. 100%. Go back and look at that replay. Okay. So
I do want to honorable mention Ryan Suter had a quietly pretty good night, honestly. So played 21 minutes.
All right, and I know we're getting late here, but I got one thing that we do need to talk about. The last thing before I turned off the TV in disgust was hearing the record that the Stars have against top 10 teams right now. And for those that didn't hear it, it's ridiculous because, if you win all these games, the looks great. The record looks great.
No way,
the Stars are 1-3-6 against top 10 teams in the NHL right now. So you can look at that one of two ways. You can look at it the positive way, probably the way that y'all look at it, or you can look at it in the negative Nancy way that I look at it. They've lost 9 out of 10 games. I understand that 6 of them are in overtime. I don't give a crap. You win half of those games, this record looks a lot better.
I give a crap.
Counter argument, kind of. That also means that we're not losing to any of the bottom teams.
And we're also not losing
our record overall is still really good.
And we're also not getting blown out by the top teams. We are in every single game that we're playing. It's not like we're getting outmatched. We're not.
Yeah.
And a lot of it has to do with our goaltender, I think. I really feel that he's the big difference right now for us.
Maybe, but I mean, your goaltender's on your team, so that's a positive for you. It's not like that's a detriment.
Chris has got a good point. The goaltender is on the team.
That is 100% a fact. Can't argue me on that one.
Yeah, no hot take there. Okay, I'll leave the rest of it for tomorrow night because we have a lot to talk about tomorrow night. It's ridiculous.
40-minute AGR. It's almost like we played the best team in the league.
Just post this as a full podcast. Might as well.
Yeah, why not?
Honestly.
Okay. We'll be back with you guys again tomorrow night. We've got lots of free agent trade talk going on as we get to less than the month deadline until the trade deadline. Some players have already been moved. Horvat, for example, Jacob Chikrin apparently is being traded to the LA Kings, but then he's not. Right, exactly. And then there's other players who are getting held out of the lineup because they're going to be traded, like Gavrikov of the Columbus Blue Jackets. Is Patrick Kane coming to Dallas?
Probably not.
That looks like a big possibility. We'll be talking about that tomorrow night. Anything else, gentlemen, tonight?
I'm sleepy.
Sleepy? All right, guys. Well, thank you guys for listening. Please go and check out StarcastStickerMarks.com, brand new website. And as always, we want to thank our sponsors, DraftKings Sportsbook and Raycon, for supporting us. Thank you to both of them. Use that promo code THPN to get some special little offers from both DraftKings and Raycon. Along with Chris and James, my name is Ryan. We will catch you guys on the flip side, and we hope you guys have a good, fantastic afternoon, evening, morning, whenever you guys are listening. We will see you guys tomorrow night.